Yo, what's up? Welcome inside the opening line, part of the Elite Fantasy Sports Network. I want to thank everybody for rocking with us. Make sure you subscribe right here on the Guru Elite YouTube channel so you get the email right to your inbox when the homies are up for the day. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, my main man, Benny Ricciardi. Benny, we had it was a good night last night, and we'll figure out where the rest of the pieces fall. For me, myself, personally, I am very thankful today to the Virginia Cavaliers because after we're done here, I'll be making a trip out to the FanDuel Sportsbook. I actually made a withdrawal this morning. My withdrawal will be going down to Maryland, to Morgan State University to pay the dorm deposit. Shout out to the Virginia Cavaliers.
That's good. That's good, man. That's what it's all about, getting some of those bills paid. Yeah, I mean, it was a great game last night. Went into overtime. The over actually hit on that game. I should have listened to you. I took the under. I was on the wrong side of that. Luckily, we got overtime because I was on Virginia, so I needed that overtime.
Overtime was big, son.
Overtime worked out well, so that was good. So I made a little bit of money on Virginia, lost a little bit of money on the under. Wasn't a bad day overall. Good game to watch. Good NCAA tournament. I mean, overall, I think the tournament was great. There was a lot of exciting games, a lot of stuff that came down to the end. Didn't work out the way most people expected, but that's not always a bad thing.
No, I think a lot of the talk yesterday was, wow, you got a blue blood in Virginia, but they've never won. And you got Texas Tech, which is Johnny Manziel, Pat Mahomes, and stuff like that, a football school. But I still thought it was a very good NCAA tournament. I thought it was a great game last night. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I was with the homies last night, right? And that game, the first 7 minutes of that game, the score was 5-4.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, man, that under. And I was like, my thing was, Benny, I was like, nah, stay patient because national championship, both teams first time here. That's why the scoring is low. And then all of a sudden, Virginia hit a stretch where they started scoring, and Texas Tech started scoring, and the first half cashed easy, and the total game cashed pretty easy also.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it worked out. At one point in game, the over-under got down to a 107.5, I think. Like 4 or 5 minutes.
I was in Jersey, I'd have hammered that.
Yeah, so it was like 4 or 5 minutes into the game. It was 107.5 was the lowest that I think I saw. And then that's when Virginia started scoring, and then from there, I mean, going into the second half, I think it was like a 126 or something like that. And the game,
I had it at 130.5 to start the second half.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, the game started at a 118 total. So, again, we talked about it. The national championship game had been going under most of these years, but those totals had been 130, 140. Even going under, they were still scoring 130-ish, 140-ish points. So, I mean, 118 is just a really, really low number. And you know what? The game started out, it looked like 118 was a really high number, but like you said, things settled down, teams started scoring, we started getting some guys making shots, and you know what? It turned into a great game, so that was awesome.
Yeah, I was on. What I did was I didn't hop in until late. Shout out to my man Fantasy Task Jim Day. I gave him the call about 8-something, and I was like, yo, listen, FanDuel Sportsbook ran a promotion last night, where if you had $25 on the spread and won, they would give you an extra $25. So I was just going to hit Virginia's money line. But when I saw that, I was like, well, if I get a free $25, let me go ahead and let me go ahead and and lay a little something down on the point spread also. So I hit the point spread, and then they had an odds boost, Virginia to win the game and go over the number. They had that at plus 280.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I jumped on that one. So I cashed that one last night too, cashed the first half also. Only thing I didn't cash last night, Benny, was something I like to do is the first half tie. The first half tie was plus 750. That game was tied with 4 seconds left.
Yeah, I was gonna say you almost hit that one. That was close to it. That would have been a nice little hit.
I've hit that twice during this past year. I've hit that twice, but I bet it a lot. But it's just something when the teams are evenly matched. I'm like, you know what? Might as well go ahead and take a shot at it. But the big three to tie the game, to send it to overtime, that was huge for the Virginia bettors right there, especially if you was on that 1.5. Guy wins the MOP, the most outstanding player. Was that the right call?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? Like if you're talking about their whole run to get there to the finals, then yeah, he probably deserved it. But I mean, Hunter played an unbelievable second half of that game
last night.
Yeah, Ty Jerome's first half was amazing too. I mean, he was going to the hole. He was hitting. He has like a little pull-up jump shot where he's really good at using his body and like, staying straight and getting square. So he was hitting that little jump shot from like 10, 15 feet out where, he was going to the hole and then stopping and popping, or he was going to the hole and drawing guys and dishing off for layups. I thought Ty Jerome is what kept him in the game in the first half. Hunter is what won it for him in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. I think the MOP is the most valuable player of the Final Four. Tough call right there. That's why I didn't put no bet on the MOP because I figured Virginia was going to win the game. I was going to put something on Jared Culver to win the MOP, kind of to hedge myself a little bit. Yep. And after a while, I was like, you know what, F this. I'm all in on Virginia. The Woo-Ha's get it done last night. But obviously, Benny, and I feel like over the course of the next 3 months, especially with the NBA playoffs coming up, we're going to be talking about referees a lot. And, of course, last night, once again, there were some controversial calls down the stretch. Everybody, listen, here's the thing with controversial calls. It depends on what side of the game you're on. If you're rooting for Virginia, I'm like, I thought the game was called fair and square. If you were on Texas Tech, you're like, that was BS.
Here's the only thing that I really have a problem with is the two plays where they went to the replay with, like, guys' hands right there.
I agree.
That's an issue because, I mean, in real time when you're watching that game, that ball was out of bounds on Virginia, and it's Texas Tech's ball. The one in overtime that they said hit off Moretti's fingers when he had like the breaking layup.
Benny, that one. I was on Virginia, and when me and my homies was chilling, and they was like, it's Virginia ball. I was like, what? We all was like, what? That one right there was suspect.
Yeah, and the thing that gets me is like I said, in real time, everybody is going to say, oh, well, he definitely knocked the ball out of the guy's hands. And it's like, well, it hit off his fingertip last and went out of bounds, and we saw it on the replay. And there were a lot of people talking about this last night on Twitter that, is it to the point now that the replay is going to kind of almost ruin the game, right? Because, I mean, for the last, 100 years of basketball without the replay, that's Texas Tech's ball. It's a 2-point game, and things may turn out very differently. When you give that ball to Virginia and they go down and score again and go up 4, now you got Texas Tech scrambling, trying to get back into it, and they just never had a chance, basically.
Yeah, that was tough. It was also the other, like you said, the other out of bounds play. That one could have went in the way either. That one goes to Texas Tech. I think throughout the course of the tournament, Virginia was the benefactor of some very critical calls that went their way. Obviously, our guy Tommy G text that it took 9 referees to get Virginia to the national championship. But listen, this was a team that came into the tournament last year as the number 1 overall seed, and they lost to UMBC as a 16 seed. And Zion and the Carolina team and all of that stuff that took place, when it all shook down, Virginia was the best team in the best conference from the beginning to the end.
It's pretty much true. I mean, they were, a deserving number 1 seed, and they won a national championship. So nobody should really be surprised about it. I mean, they were a good team all season long. They relied on their defense. They made shots when they needed to. But you know what? You know what the strange thing is, Corey? 3 of their wins in this tournament, they were down by 3-5 points with like
less than a minute.
Seconds. Yeah, 15, not even less than a minute, less than 30 seconds in the game. And they managed to pull them all out. A lot of big jump shots that got hit, a lot of free throws down the stretch. I mean, they deserved it. They did not die this entire tournament. They were on the ropes plenty of times, and they did not die.
No doubt about it. So shout out to the Virginia Cavaliers. I don't know nobody on that is an alumni of Virginia. Well, Tiki Ball, but that don't count. I don't know Tiki.
Isn't Travis Kelce?
I don't think so, son.
I thought because I know he was at the game last night. Maybe he was just there hanging out with Mahomes because
I think he was dealing with Pat Mahomes because he seemed like he was rooting on Texas Tech.
Tiki Barber went there. Basketball. There's a couple.
Sampson,
Well, what's his name? Malcolm Brogdon. Like, there's a couple.
I forgot Malcolm Brogdon went to Virginia.
But not that many. Not that many professional athletes.
Tony Bennett. He's probably on the telephone this morning or sometime today going to be on the telephone with UCLA, the Wizards of Westwood. It's going to be a large bag attached to that phone call. If you're a Bennett, you stay in Virginia or you take that trip out and you take on – is the UCLA job a good job?
I mean, I think again, it all depends. Like the UCLA job definitely comes with a lot of pressure because of the John Wooden and everything that's happened years ago in that program. The recent UCLA, I mean, they really haven't had a ton of recent success. What was it, a couple years ago when they had Ed O'Bannon and guys like that, which is actually like 20 years ago.
Yeah, more than a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's a good job. Here's the question. I mean, if you're in the ACC, right, you're playing Duke twice a year, you're playing Carolina twice a year. You got to go through those same teams to get to the NCAA tournament to win the ACC. You go out to the Pac-10, Oregon. You know what I'm saying? Like Washington. Those are schools that are a much less caliber than a Duke and North Carolina on a year-to-year basis.
No doubt about that. Is UCLA a football school or a basketball school?
I still think it's more of a basketball school, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't honestly think the football program is all that great. I mean, if you're a California kid and you're going for the storied history in football, you're going to USC. You're not going to UCLA.
Yeah, you're going to USC, or maybe, like you said, you go to Oregon or something like that, where football is more in the blood. But I agree with you, especially with John Wooden being out there. That is the place where you go to play basketball if you're in California. That UCLA job, hot and heavy. But listen, also I got to give a shout out to last night. My man, our guy, the CEO, Rob, his baseball picks, that parlay, he had 2 plays last night. I parlayed them, and they cash with no problem. Well, that Astro-Yankee game was close, and that's right. I bet against the Yankees last night. I don't mind betting against the Yankees in April. Come October, I'm not going to bet against the Yankees. It's a different story. I'll just leave it all together. But those plays are hitting. You can get them over at GuruElite.com. So that parlay coupled with the basketball, like I said, Morgan State University, is coming your way today. So shout out to my man Rob for that one. When the game is over and everything is said and done, it was a great tournament and some great games and stuff like that. But how much do you love one shining moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's become like a national treasure thing. I mean, when they show everybody, they show the whole run, they show how they get there. There's the thing that everybody loves about college basketball, right, is like the kids actually care.
Yeah.
These kids are literally leaving it all out there on the floor. They're giving everything they got because this is something that most of them have worked their entire life for an opportunity to get to. So, it's just great when you see that. You wish we saw that a little more in professional sports where, these kids, I mean, we talked about the crying after the game and stuff like that, but that's how much they put into this. That's how emotional these guys are. And that's how big a deal winning a national championship really is. So I love the one shining moment, man. It's great.
It started off with the Murray State layup line where they all jumped with Ja. And then you had the Zion shots and all of that stuff. But then they showed, and I was hoping they did this, the embrace between Johnny Dawkins and Coach K and the way that UCF Duke game ended. That UCF Duke game was the best game of the tournament.
Yeah, I really wish that UCF would. I mean, now that you know that Duke didn't win a national championship, I really wish UCF would have knocked them off right there. That would have been pretty cool. I mean, I remember watching that game. I remember you and I talking about it when we got in here the next day. And, there were like 3 chances down the end where Duke should have lost. But that's the thing. I mean, we talked about it. When you make it, and even Virginia, if you look at them, when you win a national championship, somewhere along the way, you're going to have one of those games where you look back on it and be like, man, we should have lost that game. Like we didn't really deserve to be here. But that's the thing. You don't only have to be good to win a national championship. You need to be lucky too. You need to have everything kind of work out in your favor. Virginia had one of the softest roads to get to the finals. But, hey, they did exactly what they had to do. They won the games they had to win, and they're the national championships. Nobody can take that away from them.
No doubt about it. I agree with you 100% on that one. That region is so much different. If New Mexico State hits that shot and they knock off Auburn, then Virginia's run gets a little tougher because then you got to see Carolina, who's familiar with them and stuff like that. So definitely shout out to the Cavaliers. Carson Edwards, the kid from Purdue, he was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? It was good to see some of his moments.
He's going pro. He announced the other day he's going pro.
So we'll get to see him on the big stage next year in the NBA. So shout out to Carson Edwards. Also, memories from this tournament that just passed. The sportsmanship from the North Carolina Tar Heel players as they were getting beat up by Auburn when Okiki got hurt. how every member of Carolina went over there, you know what I'm saying, and showed some sympathy for him. I thought that was real good by the Tar Heels. Obviously, North Carolina basketball, Roy Williams, that whole thing is class. I don't know if we talked about this the other day, but Benny, Bill Raftery is a national treasure. He needs to be protected at all costs. I love Bill Raftery. Onions.
Yeah, so I actually played ball with his kid when we were younger. His son Billy actually went to Del Barton, which is our rival at Seton Hall Prep. But
I did not know Bill Raftery was a Jersey guy.
Oh yeah, Bill Raftery was the leading scorer in New Jersey high school history for the longest time. St. Cecilia's in Kearney, I think, in Hudson County, because he was the all-time leading scorer in Hudson County. And the guy who actually passed him was a kid that played basketball with me and his son on our AAU team.
Wow. Okay.
The only reason I know that is that he broke Raftery's record for scoring in Hudson County.
Oh, but he's great all the time, but particularly on the last game on Saturday during the Final Four when Ty Jerome was going crazy. I was like, "Come on, Bill, give it to us one time," and he was like, "Send it in, Jerome."
So the funniest thing when we used to play, anytime his son's name was Billy too, right? So anytime Billy did something out there, like if he hit a shot when we were running down the court, we had a bunch of clowns on our team. So the kid who actually beat his dad's scoring record would be like, "Oh, with the kiss," when he banks it off. Like anytime he banks, he'd be like, "Oh, with the kiss," or like if he went to the basket, he'd be like, "Take it to the hole, big fella." Like it was so fun. Like you were running up and down trying to play, and you're just like trying not to laugh. It was hilarious.
No, that's good stuff. I swear the NBA need to hire Bill Raftery for the playoffs because he is excellent at what he does. So shout out to him for another great tournament run. Is Cassius Winston a pro?
Is he a pro? Yes. Is he going to be a star in the pros? I don't think so. I think he's and this is not a knock on him, and I don't think it's a knock on Corey Joseph either, but I think he's like a Corey Joseph.
Okay.
He's a very good backup point guard that can run an offense, get some points for you when you need him. He'll stick around in the league for a while, but I don't think he's not going to turn into like an NBA superstar. I don't think he's a 10 All-Star game appearance, first team All-NBA kind of guy. But he's definitely going to have a job playing basketball for the next, 8 to 10 years.
I would agree. He's not a Kemba Walker.
Yes.
Not at all. I would say he's probably better than Khalid. You remember Khalid El-Amin?
Oh, yes. I agree.
And I would say Cassius Winston. What about Mateen Cleaves?
See, I think he's a little better than that. He's a better scorer. He can get to the hole whenever he wants. But again, you're doing it against college kids. I want to see you do that against, a professional before we go on there. Like that's the big deal. That's the big difference to me is like, I don't think he's one of those guys that gets drafted, steps in and runs the point for a team next year. He's not, he's not like a Trae Young. He's not a Luka Doncic. Like he
doesn't have that kind of skill set.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be, a super impact player, but he's definitely a guy that'll make a team and will give you 10 to 20 minutes a game, as a rookie, and may eventually grow into a bigger role than that. I think his ceiling is a guy like maybe like a Darren Collison. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
25, 30 minutes a game, solid above average production, but he's never going to be like I'm not going to say never because you never want to say that, but I don't think he's going to wind up being like a 10-time All-Star, superstar of the NBA, anything like that.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you on that. Me and homie was discussing his game last night. Solid, young. He's like a bulldog college point guard. Like a Ray Felton, the Ty Lawson type guy that can run the offense. When he gets to the NBA, obviously the speed of the game, the athleticism, you know what I'm saying, may not catch up with him. But I think he's a good guy to have on the team. I think he'll be a good locker room guy.
Very.
I think that he's a winner, and I think that he's a guy that does deserve to be on the NBA roster, although the skill set may not be there. We don't know this guy's name that we've been talking about for like the past probably week or so. Well, half a week to a week. The guy that had the $300,000 ticket on Texas Tech. Benny, he didn't hedge.
Well, he did he said he did a little bit. I was reading one of the articles about it. He had a couple little bets on Virginia. But for the most part, yeah, he let most of it ride. Like, he was looking for the bigger score. And, man, that's tough, too. Like, we talked about it last week with some of those games that went into overtime. This was another one of those games where, 20 seconds left. If you had a Texas Tech ticket, you were feeling pretty damn good. And then by the time the game ended, you were like, man, I lost by 9, and and Virginia covered, But Virginia's been getting those sneaking into the overtime backdoor covers all tournament long, and they got another one yesterday. So if you were a Virginia bettor, I think you only wound up losing maybe 2 games. One of them was early on where they didn't cover the spread. They needed to. Might have even been the first round. I think the first round they won by it's either first or second round. They won by 8 and the spread was 10. But the rest of the way, even though it took a couple overtimes to get there, they pretty much covered throughout most of the rest of the tournament.
Very profitable. Not Michigan State. Texas Tech also very profitable. Texas Tech goes 6-1 against the spread in the NCAA tournament. So shout out to the Red Raiders and their fan base. They did a good job with that one. Like I said, Des Bryant offered the guy $50K. There was a couple other people that offered him $100,000. He said he was looking for $200,000. So basically what dude does is he likes college. He wasn't going to get $200,000.
No.
He likes college basketball. So he'll go to law. He lives in California. He'll go to Vegas, and he'll put props on several teams. You know what I'm saying? The Texas Tech one just happened to be his biggest one, but he did have one Texas Tech ticket that he put $800 on. He ended up selling that one. So he did cut some kind of a profit. It wasn't bad overall, but I just felt like that Texas Tech ticket, Benny, I wouldn't have been able to sit on that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just me. I wouldn't have been able to let that ride.
Yeah, I mean, like I said yesterday, I would have hedged it because you're talking a significant amount of money there. Don't get me wrong, $300,000 is a lot of money, and that's life-changing. But you could have hedged it to where you make $100,000, $150,000-ish, depending on either team winning. It wouldn't have mattered. And for you to only lay out, whatever he laid out, was it $1,500 up front to get that ticket to begin with? To me, it didn't make sense not to hedge it and guarantee yourself, walking away with 6 figures or so. I mean, again, like you said, he did have other tickets. Apparently, this guy does this a lot. He buys a lot of futures tickets. He goes on that, what is it called, prop swap site.
Yeah.
He sold a bunch of tickets on a bunch of different teams as well. So the guy had already made a profit on all the money that he laid down. I mean, the Texas Tech tickets alone, I think he sold for $20,000, not including the $1,500 one that he held on to. So, I mean, you put in a couple grand and you sell it for 20 grand, you walk away, you're up 10, 15,000 anyway. It does make it a little bit easier to let a big bet ride when you're basically playing with house money anyway. So
that is true too, and I get it and I understand that one right there. I would not have been able to watch that ball game last night if I was in that situation right there. So NCAA tournament comes to the end. I think I did the math last night, 15-10-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. 12 of those 15 wins was the first weekend. The Sweet 16 was real tight. The bookmakers were real tight on those Sweet 16 numbers. And then in my own Florida State thing was probably my own. That was on me because Florida State got hammered. But they other than that, you know what I'm saying? Listen, 15-10-1 is plus money.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same way. The first weekend of the tournament was very profitable. I had a good first weekend of the tournament, made money on basically all 4 days. The Sweet 16 round, I did not do well. And then you and I were on a lot of the same teams, so that's probably why it kind of worked out that way. The Sweet 16 wasn't great. The Final Four was okay. I basically broke even because I lost the Michigan State game. I had Michigan State, so I lost on that one. But I won in the other game because I had Virginia. And then last night I had Virginia, so I won some money there, but I lost because I also took the under.
Yeah.
Really, I kind of broke even in the Final Four. I lost money in the Sweet 16 round, but the first round was profitable, and that was good. And that's where the most games were, so luckily I made money for the tournament, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters when you come outside with a profit. There you go right there. That's how we get it done on this side, EliteFantasy.com, GuruElite.com. Getting ready for the NBA playoffs coming up next, so you definitely want to get down with that. Also, for all you DFS heads out there, the baseball crew is rocking and rolling right now. I don't know what's here, EliteFantasy.com. Make sure you get that done. I want to talk about some NBA right quick, and we want to get into a little bit of some other stuff that I was checking out and seeing on the internet and stuff like that yesterday. But before we get into the NBA stuff, and I think, we're not dictated by no big corporate master. This is not Sirius XM. This is not anything where we can get into a whole bunch of trouble. But I just want to talk, as the homies together, you know what I'm saying? And if you have a disagreement with anything I say, you can leave a comment, Twitter, you hit me up, whatever the case may be. I saw this post yesterday as we get ready to transition to the NBA, Benny, about the Pride Parade in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
And obviously Pride Parade being gay pride and stuff like that. And it was Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade's wife.
Right.
Dwayne Wade's oldest son, 16-year-old basketball player Zaire, were at the Pride Parade to support Dwayne Wade's 11-year-old son, who is a gay boy. And my thing is, like, listen, be cool how you be cool. I ain't got no problem with nobody. That's your thing. Do you be cool how you be cool. But how do you know that you're gay at 11 years old?
I don't know the answer to that question. I have a 10-year-old son right now, right? And even at this point in time, he's more into baseball and video games than he is girls or guys or whatever. Like at that age, like I don't even know how you know that, because I mean it's not like all other 10-year-olds are like dating already, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, I mean again, like you said, I'm perfectly fine with it. I have no problem that he is or he isn't, but at 11 years old, that just seems to me kind of young to be,
to pick your sexual orientation at 11.
A little young.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, son. Well, how do you know? Like, what's telling you that you're homosexual? You're what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, you got tomboys and you got, I guess you can say, tom girls, whatever, stuff like that. But I'm just like, I can't fathom it, Benny. And I'm like, have we gotten to a space right now, as parents or as a society where if somebody, 7, 8 years old says, okay, I'm homosexual, we just take it and go with it?
I guess. I mean, again, right now, like, I couldn't even tell you whether my son was or wasn't because he's 10 years old. Like, I don't even think girls are, like, that big a deal to him right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he has friends who are girls and they go and play kickball and, tag and whatever in the park. Like, it's not like I don't think you even have those kind of feelings at that age. I don't know. I mean, by the time he's 14, he's going to be like, whoa, wait a second, Dad. I got, But again,
forget these video games,
Yeah, like at 10 years old, though, I mean, have you even hit puberty? Have you even, kind of hormones started racing and all that stuff yet? Like, I'm trying to remember back. Like, 10 years old, you're in what, like 4th grade? Like,
something like that, yeah.
I wasn't trying to get girls in 4th grade. Like that was, like the furthest thing from my mind. Now, again, once you get into 8th grade, into high school, that's a whole different story. Then I think you kind of know what's going on. But yeah, 10, 11 years old is a little young. But again, I mean, hey, more power to him. I'm happy that he has a family that supports him and doesn't mind whatever decision he decides to make and whatever he wants to do. Like I said, I think it's a little young, but if you know. I mean, it is what it is.
Be cool how you be cool. You know what I'm saying? I know with my son, I'll never forget. I was picking up. It was in Washington, D.C. This is when I was still living down there. And I went to pick up my son. He probably was between 11, well, probably between 12, 13 that summer. So we had got on the metro to take the metro up to my crib. And there was a girl sitting on the metro, and it's summertime, so she had on like a tank top. You know what I'm saying? She put together nicely, whatever. And my son, he just kept putting he just couldn't stop smiling, Benny. I'm like, what are you smiling at?
So I actually had this discussion with my wife, and she was like, oh, do you think, or my oldest son's name is Dylan. She's like, oh, do you think Dylan has like a little girlfriend yet or anything like that? And I was like, babe, I don't even think he cares, like, about girl. Like, I really don't. Like, I think it's the further to him. He's like, Dad, when's baseball practice? Or, are we getting home early? I want to go play some Fortnite. I said, you know what? You'll know, babe, when he cares, because we'll be out somewhere and there'll be some, like you just said, like some beautiful, well put together woman who walks by, and his head will snap like when she walks by, and he'll stare. And at that point, then you'll know, like, all right, he likes girls now. He's into. He's into that mode where we got to start keeping an eye on him and, getting ready to have the discussion about the birds and the bees and all that stuff. I said, I don't think he's there yet, but it's coming soon. It's got to be coming soon. I mean, he's 10 already, so.
Yeah, no, trust me. Well, Benny, take your time, because it will get there soon enough, because I can't even get a word in with my son now. You know what I'm saying? He gets ready to go off to college and the prom and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I know he's into girls. I remember one night we were sitting in here, right? We were sitting at my crib. I think it was up there. Both the kids was up here. Yeah, both the kids was up here. So we was over here chilling, whatever. And he was talking to his little girlfriend on the phone or whatever. And she was like, Jaden, have you ever lied to me? And he said, I don't recall. And I just started.
Yeah, you taught him well, man. He's already. He's got the game going already, man. He's good.
He was like, I don't recall. And I was like, just like a politician, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good answer, man. You can't get in trouble with that. I don't recall, because if you get caught later, you'd be like, yo, I didn't tell you I've never lied to you. I just said I didn't remember.
I'm just trying to cover all the bases. I do not recall lying to you. So, Benny, like I said, I got to send in some money down to Morgan, cashing out, whatever, bring a little bit back uptown for myself and a little bit for the masses in the start of the NBA playoffs. I do want to get some action in tonight. I want to talk to you about some of these basketball games. I know it's going to be a tough day in the NBA, especially if you're trying to bet the NBA today or even play DFS. Are you doing a DFS basketball article today?
I am, and I got to be honest. A lot of times I have most of it done by the time we do our show here. There are over 60 guys listed as out, not even including guys that are doubtful or questionable today. There's over 60 guys listed as out. And really there are 3 games with, like, serious playoff implications and then a couple other ones for seeding. But it's weird because I'm looking through it and there are certain teams that you could tell are probably trying to win today because all their stars are still playing with only 2 games left in the season. And there are other teams that are like, we're already in the playoffs. We don't care if we end up the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7 seed, because you can tell that they're sitting a bunch of their starters. But, I mean, the 3 games that matter, like we talked about this yesterday, right? You got Memphis playing Detroit today.
And let me stop you right there with the Memphis and Detroit. Detroit is laying 10 at home. Detroit can't beat nobody by 10 points. I don't care how hard they're trying.
I don't completely disagree with you. What I like to do in situations like this, I do think Detroit's going to win. I do think 10's a lot of points. That's one that you can tease down. And the other thing with Memphis, too, is you look at it like there's no Jonas Valanciunas today. There's no Mike Conley today. There's no Avery Bradley today. I mean, you're basically going up against a Memphis team.
A skeleton crew.
Yeah, it's going to be like DeLon Wright, Tyler Dorsey, Bruno Cabocavolo, or whatever the heck his name is. You're going to have, like, Ivan Robb probably playing 25, 30 minutes today. So, I mean, I expect Detroit to win this game. Like you said, it's a lot of points. But, again, Detroit's really motivated here. Like, if they win out, they guarantee that last playoff spot to themselves. If they lose, they're opening the door for teams like Miami and Charlotte to sneak in there.
Boston is in D.C. D.C. is actually a 5.5-point favorite. That would lead me to believe that Boston is sitting everybody in it. And Boston's like, we're locked in. Can Boston still slip to the 5?
I think they can if Indiana wins. I think it's only one. I think they're only up 1 game right now. I mean, I know Marcus Morris isn't playing. I know Kyrie's not playing. Marcus Smart's not playing. Jason Tatum's not playing. Al Horford's not playing. I mean, they're literally playing their B and C team. But I really don't think it matters that much. I got to be honest. Like, I think people make a big deal about, seeding and home court advantage and all that stuff. I mean, basically, to me, I think the Celtics are going to go in there, and I think they're going to play Indiana. Without Oladipo, I think they beat Indiana in that series. And then it wouldn't matter anyway, because whether they're the 4 or the 5, they're going to be the underdog in the second round. Or at least they're not going to have home court advantage in the second round. So for a team like Boston, I don't really think it matters with where they are.
I agree. I think this is the time. They'd rather use this to get healthy. If they have to go on the road to Indiana to start the playoff run, I don't think Boston has a problem doing that, especially the team without Victor Oladipo. Charlotte has something to play for tonight. They are in Cleveland. They are laying 8 in this one against the Cavaliers, Benny. Once again, I like Charlotte tonight. I think they'll win the game. Can they win by 10 points? Cleveland, is Cleveland, like, playing anybody?
I'm pretty sure that I saw Kevin Love this morning is sitting. I mean, Kevin Love's their best player. So, really, I mean, this should be a win. This should be a game that's very winnable for Charlotte. Again, when you tease teams, you need more than one team anyway. So if you're teasing Detroit, you could tease teams like Detroit and Charlotte down. Then you have basically Detroit winning by like 5 or 6 if you can get them at under 10, and you have Charlotte winning at like 4 points. It's a lot easier for them to cover that. And again, these two teams are still motivated. Cleveland has nothing to play for. Memphis has nothing to play for. Detroit and Charlotte are playing for their playoff lives. If they lose, if Charlotte loses, they're basically out. If Detroit loses, they're opening the door for these other 2 teams to sneak in. So, you got to look at Miami, Charlotte, and Detroit as 3 teams that can win tonight. Miami being the one that has the toughest matchup of the 3. So that's the one I'm trying to avoid when I'm, betting in NBA tonight.
No doubt about it. That game is Philadelphia, the 76ers, going down to Miami to take on the Heat. Miami laying 3.5. This one must-win situation for the Miami Heat tonight. Philadelphia, generally not a good road team anyway, but Miami not a good home team, which is funny. But I think the interesting thing here is this. who is going to play for Philadelphia tonight?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I know Joel Embiid is out. It looks like Jimmy Butler will be playing, though. I think they said J.J. Redick might be out tonight. Ben Simmons is going to play. But that's the thing. I mean, you're not getting a full strength. And this is what we talked about yesterday, right, with the end of the season. Tomorrow, if Charlotte wins today, Charlotte gets Orlando tomorrow. I really doubt Orlando's going to be playing most of their main pieces tomorrow. They're probably going to sit them. So if Charlotte can beat a Cleveland team that's without Kevin Love today, they're going to get an Orlando team that's probably going to be sitting guys like Vucevic and Gordon and all that. Charlotte should be able to win out these last two games, which puts the pressure on Detroit to win against Memphis today and whoever they have the other day, and basically makes Miami, kind of an afterthought. I mean, Miami has to win today against Philly, otherwise they're basically eliminated. They have one other game against the Nets, which is another one that you don't know what the Nets are already in, so you don't know if they're going to be looking to play all their guys in the last game either.
Let me see right quick, Benny, a money line parlay with the Hornets and the Pistons is only 178. You ain't getting no juice on that. I got to work with that one a little bit more. I'll figure it out. The Knicks and the Bulls, and this might as well be an exhibition. You know what I'm saying? They might as well sit this one out. Golden State and New Orleans, once again, might as well be an exhibition. Toronto and Minnesota, I'm about to say the Blue Jays. Do the Raptors have anything to play for? It probably doesn't.
I got to double check on their seeding, but I don't think so. I think they're they're not going to get the number one. I think they're pretty much locked up into the 2 or the 3. I know. See, they're one of the tough teams for me to write up today because they didn't rule anybody out. But you have Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Marcus Gasol, all listed as questionable for rest. So I'm assuming those guys are going to end up sitting today. So if that's the case, then I don't really think they're looking at it as they have anything to play for or, they really want anything, which also means that last game that they play, they're probably going to do the same thing and let these guys sit out again.
Minnesota never has anything to play for, especially when you have a team with Wiggins on it. When you have a team with Wiggins on it, it's never really important. Phoenix and Dallas might as well be an exhibition. Nothing to talk about or see there. Here we go. Now, this one right here, this might be a regular NBA game that we might be able to find some value on. The Denver Nuggets go to Utah to take on the Jazz. Denver can't beat the number 1 seed. I know Utah is still playing for seeding. How do you think this one shakes out? What's the injury situation in this one with the Nuggets and the Jazz?
No, let me double check on that. I want to make sure Denver's actually playing their guys because I don't think it really matters to Denver.
Okay.
They're right there in the mix with a couple other teams. Let's see. No, actually, Denver's playing their guys. It looks like Jokic is playing, Millsap's playing, and Jamal Murray are playing. So that's big that they're going to be playing all their guys. You're right. This very likely may be a good game. The problem is, again, I'm writing a DFS article. The Denver Nuggets are a pretty good defensive team that plays at a slower pace. The Utah Jazz are playing at a faster pace this year, but they're still a pretty good defensive team, and they still play at like a middle to, lower tier kind of pace. So for fantasy, I don't really think there's a lot in this game that makes a lot of sense. Now, betting-wise, though, like you said, this is a game that you could probably put some money on because it does look like both of these teams are going to be going out there looking for a win. I usually like Denver a lot more at home. Utah at home has always been a tough team. What's pretty funny? I'm actually looking right now at my numbers. I don't have a spread on this game yet. Are you on like the FanDuel Sportsbook or something? They have a.
I'm on. Hold on 1 second, son. I'll make sure I got the right number for you. I'm looking at a number that may not be the right number. Yes, the right number is correct. Utah is a 1.5 point favorite.
Again, gun to my head, if I had to make a bet on this game, I'd probably go Denver.
Yeah, me too. I just feel like Denver's better than Utah. Denver may not be better than a lot of the other teams in the Western Conference, but Denver's better than Utah. If Denver and OKC played in the first round, I think OKC wins that series.
It would be a good series, I think, because I don't know if they can guard OKC. Like, they don't have anybody that can stop Westbrook or Paul George. Now, again, the best player on Denver is Jokic, and not that Steven Adams is a superstar, but Steven Adams is a very good defender. Like, it's not going to be an easy series for Jokic. So, matchup-wise, OKC does have some advantages going up against that Denver team. That Denver team has been really, really good this year.
Yeah.
I think them losing out on the playoffs last year has made them a lot more focused this year, which
kind of like UVA was in the tournament.
But now that paid off for them in the regular season. When it comes to the playoffs, though, it still comes down to talent. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of teams that kind of, I'm not going to say half-assed the regular season, but, didn't put all their effort into the regular season like they probably should have if they wanted, if they really wanted to. Like, I mean, the Golden State Warriors did not really have a great season. They underperformed what a lot of people expected them to do this year. But I still think Golden State is going to turn it on absolutely fine in the playoffs.
Well, Golden State won't win 60 games this year, will they?
I don't think so. I think they're just a little bit under. That's what I'm saying. It's like, people were expecting them to, oh my God, they're adding Boogie. They're going to win 70 this year. Like, they hadn't been that great. The thing about Denver, though, is like, I think we've been seeing close to peak Denver all season. Like, I think all season, because they missed the playoffs last year on the last day, I don't think Denver has another gear. Like, I don't think Denver's gonna step it up in the playoffs like a team like Golden State or Houston or OKC is able to, because those teams haven't been playing with their foot all the way to the pedal. You know what I mean?
Yep. Houston, speaking of OKC and Houston and OKC play tonight. This is the national televised game on TNT. Houston goes into Oklahoma City a 1-point favorite, Benny.
I mean, again, you got some of the best players in the game that are going to be in this game. I don't know if they're all going to be playing. I don't see anything here that really has any of those big names out tonight. So they're probably both in. I think Houston, interestingly enough, Houston, Portland, and Denver are all within like a game or two of each other.
Exactly.
So theoretically, Houston could end up with the 2 seed if they go ahead, which would give them home court advantage in a second-round matchup against the Denver Nuggets, which would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that 4-5 spot is where you don't want to be in the Western Conference, because that sets you up for that second-round matchup against the Warriors. You'd rather see the Warriors in the conference finals, and I think that's big for Houston more than anybody else. So I can definitely see Houston wanting to get up there and have that home court. So there goes the NBA action for the night. So Benny got that covered, so go on there, elitefantasy.com. And listen, it's a tough night to play with. Benny got you covered through the playoffs also. A couple of day baseball games today, Benny, that I find a little bit interesting, mainly because of who's on the mound and what they're going through. Corey Kluber and the Detroit Tigers take on the Cleveland Indians, right? Kluber is 0-2 with an ERA over 5. Chris Sale and the Red Sox are home for Toronto. Sale is 0-2 with an 8 ERA. Are we turning it around today, or are we still going to see some early season struggles?
All right, so if I'm picking one of the two to turn it around today, I think I'm a little more on Kluber than I am on Sale, right? And it really has to do with the fact that Kluber didn't really pitch well in that last game, and that's what kind of made his numbers look bad. But he was still throwing, his pitches. He was still throwing around where we're used to seeing him. Until I see Chris Sale be able to dial it up into the mid to high 90s again, I'm concerned with him, because especially in DFS, if you're playing a guy like this in DFS and you're paying that top salary, you need those strikeouts, right? And the way he gets his strikeouts is by using his fastball and his slider. Basically what they did last game, and we talked about this, is they were just sitting on his fastball because his fastball was coming in at 91. And a 91-mile-an-hour fastball is a very hittable fastball for a major league hitter. A 96, 97, when you're also snapping off a slider that's a couple miles per hour less than that, that's a lot tougher thing to catch up with than to hit. So everything Sale does really sets up off that fastball that he throws. If he's not able to gun that fastball by people anymore, then he becomes more of a finesse pitcher, which isn't a bad thing. I still think he'll be a pretty good finesse pitcher. In that one game, he did go like 6 innings and only gave up a couple hits and a couple runs. But fantasy-wise, you're not getting the upside that you're paying for, or that you paid for in a season-long fantasy draft, if you're getting Chris Sale, throwing ground balls like he's Greg Maddux, as opposed to trying to strike out 10 or 12 batters a game.
No doubt. That's my man Benny giving you just a little bit of the knowledge. You want the rest, head on over to elitefantasy.com and start cashing out. Benny, get ready to wrap it up for the day. You know what I mean? Get ready to wrap it up for the day and get ready to get on with the day. Like I said, I'll be headed out to Jersey. But then give me a big piece of chicken on your way out the door, and I'll give you mine.
I mean, for me, it's not one person today. We're going to have a whole bunch of big pieces of chicken, and they're all going to the, Virginia Cavaliers right now. I mean, that's a team that would not die 3 times in this tournament with less than 20 seconds left. They were down by 3 points or more. They came back every time. They put a couple games in overtime. And then, they're a second half team. They're a team that knows how to finish. They played well together. They had a whole bunch of guys who knew their jobs. The big guys blocked shots and rebounded. The guards hit shots and went to the hole. The whole team played defense. The coach had him in a good spot right there. Virginia Cavaliers, national champions, bouncing back from getting knocked out in the first round last year. Big piece of chicken all around for them.
Good job right there, my man, Benny. And in the spirit of what you did yesterday, Benny, I'm going to take a little bit of time today to give my big piece of chicken to Peter Rosenberg. Yes, you may know Peter Rosenberg from the Michael K. Show. You may know Peter Rosenberg from Ebro in the Morning on Hot 97, but it's a good chance that you don't know who Peter Rosenberg is because he's not all that talented. You know what I'm saying? Peter Rosenberg, I don't see how he's been getting around and doing this thing for a long time. Now, for those of you that, came up a couple years ago and stuff like that, you remember this clown that made the "This is why Duke sucks"? Yeah, he took "This is why I'm hot," turned it around into "This is why Duke sucks." This is the Peter Rosenberg cat that I'm talking about. Well, yesterday, my man Craig Carton, going through his situation. He went on with Michael K. And obviously Craig and Peter have had differences in the past, mainly because of things that's said on the radio. Benny, I've had radio wars with some of the best of them. Hell, I've had a radio war with Jeff Manns. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Manns is a homie of mine. I've had a radio war with Lenny Melnick. Lenny Melnick, not so much, but still. I'm not going to punch Lenny in the face. I don't even want to see anything bad happen to Lenny when I do see him. But Peter Rosenberg yesterday, with some of his commentary on Craig Carton when he was in that program, was really disturbing to me. Listen, you're supposed to be a radio dude, but you don't understand the difference between what takes place on air and what takes place off the air. It seems like you were kind of gloating in the fact that Craig has lost his wife, more or less bankrupt, and getting ready to go to jail. So Peter Rosenberg, for finally getting your 5 minutes of fame, you get a big piece of chicken, you clown, my man. Benny, we are out for the day. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank everybody for rocking with us. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe right here on the YouTube page. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, my main man, Benny. We out.